The Death Knight build is going to focus on heavy jumping attacks with 2 curved greatswords that have Frost Affinity on them. I absolutely love this build. It is a lot of fun. It is a level 150 quality build that I think you guys are going to absolutely enjoy, so let's get into it. So the entire reason behind this build is because I wanted to try and use the Zamor Curved Sword. I'd never used it before. It is a really fun and great looking weapon, and I felt like it had some potential, so we're going to be using that as well as the dismounter with a Frost Affinity on it to get as much frost buildup as possible, causing frostbite and for our enemy to take 20% increased damage. But if you want, you can also use any dagger to use a Flame Ash of War to reset all of your frost. This is a really fun way to play. It does a considerable amount of damage, and the skill cap to use this type of build is not high. It is a great way to play Elden Ring. So starting off with the weapons, we are going to be using the Zamor Curved Sword, which is going to have Ice Storm on it, which once again is going to help us build up that frost. It is going to have a frost buildup of 65 already innately on the weapon, which is nice. It's going to scale with strength and dexterity, having a C in both attributes. And as far as the stats required to use this weapon, you need 16 strength and 18 dexterity, so not a ton, which is really nice. And its physical attack is going to be 288 plus 307, so a decent curved sword made a lot better by the Frost Affinity. The second weapon we're going to be using is the dismounter with a Frost Affinity on it as well. I absolutely love this weapon. I did a build on this not too long ago, and it was incredible. It is going to do a physical attack of 232 plus 233. It also is going to have some magic damage on there at 186 plus 20, and the attribute scaling on this weapon with the Frost Affinity is Strength C, Dexterity C, and Intelligence C, and the attributes required to use it are Strength 19 and Dexterity 16. With the Frost Affinity on it, it is going to have a frost buildup of 125, which is considerable, and is going to help you proc that frostbite really quickly with the Zamor Curved Sword. If you want to find either one of these weapons, the dismounter is going to be found incredibly early in Limgrave from the Caden Cell Swords, and then the Zamor Curved Sword is going to be found much later in the game in the Giant Conquering Hero's grave, dropped by the ancient hero Zamor. And as stated before, you can use any dagger here just to put a Flame Affinity on it, so that way once you get your frostbite to proc, you can then immediately reset it by taking this out using a Flame Ash of War. It doesn't matter which one, and then you can start resetting your frostbite all over again, and it works out very well and is an incredibly fun and unique way to play. Now for our flask, we are going to be using the Stone Barb Crack tier and the Opaline Bubble tier. The Stone Barb Crack tier is going to allow stance break to happen a lot easier, and in fact, once you get down to it, the Stone Barb Crack tier is going to give you plus 30% stance damage and plus 30% stamina damage to blocking enemies, so this is really going to help you whittle through shields and get enemies to break stance really quickly. The Opaline Bubble tier is going to give you a 90% damage negation for one hit, so pretty much it's a free hit. The other tier that I would suggest here is potentially a stamina tier, just depending on how you juggle stamina with these two weapons, but that's completely up to you. If you want to find the Stone Barb Crack tier, you're going to be looking all the way in the east side of Caelid. There's going to be an Erd tree there with a putrid avatar. You just got to kill that putrid avatar, and then that Stone Barb Crack tier will be yours. And the Opaline Bubble tier is going to be dropped by the Erd tree in Weeping Peninsula. So you can get both of them pretty early in the game, and they both synergize really well with this build, which is why I have them here on the list. And real quick, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this far into the video. If you have not subscribed yet, or if you have not subscribed to the channel at all, feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you guys can know when I'm making more content. We are almost at 13,000 subscribers in 2023, so I'm really excited about that. You keep building this channel up into something that I'm really excited for it to turn into, so thank you guys so much for that. And now let's get into the talismans. Now, as far as our talismans, we are going to be using in slot 1 the Shard of Alexander. The reason being is because this is one of the best talismans in the game. It gives us a 15% increase to our skills on our weapons, so Zamor Ice Storm is going to hit 15% harder, and it is a really great unique skill when it comes to clearing a bunch of mobs out really quickly. The Ice Storm swirls around you, does a ton of damage, frostbite procs, and everybody dies. So this is a really great talisman to have here for us. In talisman slot number 2, we're going to be using the Claw Talisman. This is going to enhance our jump attacks, and considering we are using 2 curved greatswords, our jump attacks are already going to hit really hard. This is only going to stack on top of that. This is going to give us plus 15% jump attack damage, but if you're using this in PvP, it will only give you a 7.5% in PvP, so just take note of that. But you can also stack this with the Raptor's Black Feathers if you want to use that with this build. I absolutely hate how that armor looks, so that's the reason I'm not using it, but overall, I think without it, you're still doing a considerable amount of damage, but if you want to add the Raptor's Black Feathers, that will be an extra 10% jump attack damage. And as far as our talisman slot number 3, this is the one I feel like is an absolute must for this build, unless you're really stacking a lot more into endurance than I'm going to show you in the final stats. But I'm using Great Jar's Arsenal because it's giving me a plus 19% equip load, allowing me very easily to wield both of these curved greatswords. I feel like without this talisman, you're just going to end up really struggling to get out of that heavy roll area, especially with using any considerable good armor or armor that looks decent in this game. So the Great Jar's Arsenal arsenal is the pick for slot number 3. And finally, in talisman slot number 4, we have the Viridian Amber Medallion +2, which is going to vastly increase our stamina. As stated in many of my other videos, and as you'll notice when using this build without this talisman, you are always going to be wanting more stamina. So this is why I chose this, because we're going to get a 15% boost to our max stamina, allowing us to swing for longer, jump for more, and overall, it's a great quality of life talisman, I find, for any build that has very heavy weapons. Now, for the locations of all these talismans, so you can make this build for yourself, the Viridian Amber Medallion is going to be located in Mikola's Haligtree. You can get the earliest version in Tombsword Cave in Weeping Peninsula, but if you want the +2 to give you the 15% extra stamina, you are going to get it at the end of the game in Mikola's Haligtree. This is going to be guarded by a bunch of Scarlet Rot zombies around the chest, so just be careful of that. The Great Jar's arsenal is going to be located right here in Caelid. After you complete the Trial of the Great Jar, you're going to have to kill 3 invaders that are extremely difficult, but once you do that, this will be your reward. The Claw Talisman is going to be in Stormvale Castle after you do a little bit of parkour to get up one of the towers. You'll know you're there by all the different eagles that are going to fly away, and it will be sitting there on a corpse for you. And the Shard of Alexander is going to be located at the very end of Alexander's quest. It will be all the way in Fair Mazzulo, so this is a very end game talisman, but you can kill Alexander early if you wish and get the Warrior Jar Shard, which is going to give you a 10% damage increase instead of a 15%, but that is completely up to you. And lastly, for our armor, obviously we want to do the RP of some kind of a Death Knight, so we are using the Royal Remains Helm, the Mausoleum Knight armor, the Bloodhound Knight gauntlets, and the Scaled Greaves. As stated before, you can use the Raptor's Black Feathers if you want that extra jump attack damage, but this is just what I've put together. I think it looks really, really good, and it definitely rolls with that RP of an Undying Knight in the Lands Between, so I think it matches perfectly with our build. The Scaled Greaves are going to be located from a quest in Volcano Manor to hunt down the Tarnished. They will be one of your rewards for killing that Tarnished. The Bloodhound Knight gauntlets are going to be in the Gelmir Hero's Grave. The Mausoleum Knight armor can be farmed by the Mausoleum Knights either right in front of the Black Knife Catacombs or right here on the map in Liurnia. And then the Royal Remains Helm is going to be dropped by the Invader in Roundtable Hold. And guys, there you have it. That is going to be it for our Death Knight build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Leave things you would change, things that you love, any of that kind of stuff. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. If you are not subscribed to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year, so I'm very excited for that. I want to thank you guys all so much for just being here and supporting the community and the channel. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.